right, thank you guys for joining us. This is Marcus Hansen from FTF Canada. Pleasure to bring in our speaker for this episode of Inside the Game with Coach Sean Lawlor from Syracuse University. Sean, thank you for joining us today.
No, thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
No worries, no worries. So Sean, just want to kind of get a sense of the history of the program, your background, where you came from, the different route. I know you were a player, a pretty good player back in the day. Did some research on you there. So yeah, just kind of how you got into the game and how you are where you are now.
Yeah. So I'm originally from Blackpool, which is about 25 minutes, 30 minutes away from Manchester. Huge Manchester United fan. Played for my hometown team until I was the age of 19. Till I got told, listen, you got to go. You're not good enough. Get out. Like, it's been too long. Came over here till I was actually at a Division II school called Lemoyne College. They've had players like Matt Silver from Canada, who was at York 9, goalkeepers. We've had a few Canadians. Dan St. Jock, who's an Ottawa boy, a good friend of mine. He was in my year. So came to Lemoyne. The assistant coach was from Blackpool, so nice. that was my connection. How do you end up here from Manchester to Blackpool to here? But played there, had a great time, loved it. It was awesome. I always say to kids that Division 1, 2, and 3, like, it doesn't matter. It's the right fit for you. And Lemoyne was the right fit for me at my stage in life, and had a blast. Yeah, had a blast. So came over to be a stockbroker. Came over to America to finish my to finish my soccer career off well. Tick some boxes, and then just become a stockbroker. I met a guy just before I came over here that my mom introduced me to, and I was like, yeah, 30 years old, Ferrari, retired. That's me. And the stock market crashed during my time at college. So looked at my college coach and was like, I would love to do what he does, realizing like not everything that he does, and became his assistant after my senior year. Once I got my master's at Lemoyne through the grad assistant, I got the thirst for it. Met Coach McIntyre at a camp. He asked me to be his volunteer. It was the best education of all time, best education ever. Mike Miller was on staff, who is now the associate at UConn, and then Yuka Maslin, who's still our associate here at Syracuse. Like, I couldn't ask for a better.
It's a great staff.
Yeah, and then Matt Verney later on in life. I couldn't ask for 4 better people. In my early career, really taught me a ton. Went on to Drexel in Philadelphia, got my first full-time gig under Doug Hess. Again, learned so much from him. Awesome coach, especially attacking-wise. Taught me so much about the way of how football is played going forward. And I'm a defender, so I was like, this is so good, and now I believe I'm an attacking coach instead of a defensive coach. But then late last February was asked to come back, replace Matt Verney, and yeah, couldn't be happier to be back. My wife's from Syracuse, so it's just a perfect fit for everybody. And being in the ACC, it's the Premier League of college soccer. So
yeah, it's a great conference, and we'll get into that a little bit. And just so, because we're going to have a big Canadian audience that's going to be watching, a lot of players. Just talk about some of the Canadian players that you've worked with at your time at Syracuse. I know it's just been for a little bit now here, but there's obviously been some talent. If you just want to talk about just letting the people know some Canadians that have come through the program.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was here in 12 and 13. We had Skylar Thomas, a youth Canadian international centre back, Jordan Morel, who plays for Las Vegas, the Las Vegas Lights now. Chris Nanko. Chris Nanko was a freshman in 2014. So I was there for his freshman year. So from all spectrums, right? You got the Jordan Morel, who is a youth international, highly touted Canadian international. And then you got Chris Nanko from Sigma. Alex Hallis was there. Another highly talented, unbelievably talented football player from that area. And then since I came back, I've got Hilly Goldhar, who will be a junior, took massive steps forward this season in his production. Ryan Raposo, I mean, he's the name now, right? What a player! Like from day one, I was like you watch him on TV, like I did. I mean, when I left Syracuse, I watched every Friday night pretty much. I watched the Syracuse games as a fan, and wow, like it doesn't do him justice. It doesn't do him justice. You don't see his hard work in the gym. He doesn't. Saturday nights he's in the gym. He's not doing what normal college kids are doing. He's in the gym, jumping fences to get in and do a little workout. So Simon Triantaflu is here too. He's going to be a senior coming up. Excited to see what he's doing. I missed out on Kamal Miller. I've known Kamal. I was here for his visit. I was talking to him the other day. We had a Zoom call with him. Great person, great guy. I'm so happy to see what he's doing. He's really come of age. And I saw a picture of him the other day. I think you guys put it up, and the difference in body of his body is insane. So
he's an animal.
We've got some great. We've had some great Canadians, and we'll hopefully just keep bringing them through. So
definitely, yeah. No, it's so true. And like you said, you mentioned some of the Canadian. What are some football qualities that you notice? Obviously, English background. You've been in the NCAA game, but what are some football qualities that you particularly look for in a player? Maybe an attacking. We could start with an attacking player. I know you said you're a new attacking mind, but what kind of qualities are you looking for in those type of players?
In all players, we like players who have something to prove, right? Ryan Raposo is one, for an example. He had something to prove. He's talked about it in interviews going towards the Vancouver Whitecaps. He had an edge, and we like that in every single player. And I see that a lot in Canada. Like when I first got here, I didn't know anything. Not here. Like when I arrived, I didn't know. I thought Canada was a hockey place, right? And
of course,
but I love going up there and watching games because there's an intensity and an aggressiveness about the games, and I love that about the Canadians, and I mean obviously like the national team's doing wonders for everything. So attacking players, what do we like? An edge, production. I don't. I saw like everyone's now putting videos out on Twitter and Instagram and stuff like that, and there was just a training session of Harry Kane and the Tottenham forward just getting in the box, in the 6-yard box and putting in, and everyone's like, well, it's not a really fancy training session, is it? Like, where's all the cones? And like, it wasn't. It's simple. Harry Kane gets paid $250,000 a week to do exactly what that is. So practice that. Production. That is it. Like, I don't care how many times you pass the ball backwards. I care about goals and assists and key passes and how many times you enter the box. And it's about aggressive in a different nature in terms of your production and not being worried about losing the ball.
Definitely. And then midfield players, and that was great. And I know a lot of the attacking players are going to take a lot from that. But midfield players as well, what are you looking for? What are some characteristics? And then we'll go on to defenders just really quickly.
Yeah. Midfielders, athleticism is big in the game now because of the pressing nature of teams and stuff like that. Mate, my daughter's knocking on the door. Can I?
Of course, go.
Sorry.
No worries. I'll pause it really quickly.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll ask you the question again. So, and we'll cut it up and all that stuff. But midfielders, what are you looking for? I know we talked about them having to be dynamic and athletic and stuff like that. What are you looking for in a midfield player?
Yeah, with the pressing nature of the game now, especially in college, the game's so fast. The substitution rule really, it never lets the game die. So there's no lulls. I mean, there's still lulls in the game, but really the lulls are a lot shorter than they are a 90-minute 3 substitution FIFA rule standard game. And they need to cover a ton of ground. Like, you need to be fit. Like, if you think you're fit, you got to break that next barrier of fitness, because there's going to be a ton of cover, like ground to cover, just before you even get onto the ball. We can talk about the ball and stuff like that, but they need to be efficient with the ball, to go along with the fitness. They need to be brave, both on the ball and off the ball, and no different systems. Playing a 2, playing a 3 midfield, because when you come to Syracuse, we play a number of formations. We play a couple of formations in a game, maybe, depending on the way the game's going and stuff like that. So that would be my suggestion for like midfield, like true midfielders, like a Steven Gerrard or Michael Bradley or stuff like that. So
For sure.
it's number 10s. Number 10s again is in aggressiveness. Like, it goes with the attacking players. Is you're not a luxury player anymore. No one plays that anymore. No one has those. I mean, Barcelona do, but we're not Barcelona. So, like, the Liverpool style of play is probably now the future of where football's going. Where it's all for one and one for all type thing, to quote Michael Jordan the other day. But the number 10 has to be willing to work, has to be hungry for winning the ball back, and then the bravery to find those key passes, because that's your job, and score goals.
Of course. And then defenders, and maybe if we just touch on goalkeepers, what are you guys looking for in defending players?
Defender, you got to love defending. I get too many videos from defenders that 5 or 6 minutes go by and they're showing their passing. I mean, that is great. It's part of the game. It is, but I need to see you defend. Can you win a header? Can you win tackles? Can you win a 1v1 battle when you are isolated? Because especially here at Syracuse, we like to put a lot of onus on our defenders, and have them isolated with matchups 1v1. There's not a lot of the covering and, hey, I need help. Like, this is your job, this is your man, and that's the way you have to deal with it. And so isolate. Can you be isolated in space? Can you win tackles? Can you win headers? Can you win those battles? And then, how good are you on the ball? Fullbacks, fitness is, you have to be the fittest person on the field. But then you also have to have production in your defensive third. You can't get beat 1v1, and you need to produce in the final third with assists and chip in with some goals. So goalkeepers, athleticism, like, your footwork has to be good. You have to shoot. You have to keep the ball out of the goal, right? Basically, like, there's different techniques to goalkeeping, but your main job is to keep the ball out of the goal, and then the footwork part is great. It's a modern day game. You need to be good with your feet, but again, if you're not good with your hands, then you're not going to be a goalkeeper at the top level. So
for sure. No, those are some great pointers there, and I'm hoping everyone that's listening is taking that into consideration, because it is some massive key points there that all players should look to put in towards their game, or if they have it, just keep doing those great things. So I know that was kind of inside the lines, what you're looking for on the pitch, but outside of the field, what are some characteristics you guys look for, some personality traits that you guys are looking for? Because obviously you're representing Syracuse as a big school, Power 5, ACC conference. What are you looking for your players to represent outside of the pitch?
Just you're part of a pro. So Syracuse is all of that, but Syracuse University is one of the 2 major institutions in the city of Syracuse. It's us and the hospitals basically are the big employment parts of the city, and so you are known here. And if you are part of our program, you represent our program 24/7. It's not just when you come to training. Or in the gym, or whenever you come into Manley Fieldhouse, it's all the time, because Syracuse University is everything to this city in terms of sports, and we want people to take that responsibility and use it. Like excel in everything. Excel in the classroom, not just on the field. Excel in your relationships with people that are on campus. Do the extra. Go the extra yard. Go to things that are on campus for your benefit. Use the full experience of Syracuse University to your benefit. I mean, we had the other day one of our. This guy was a former goalkeeper of ours. He wrote to our athletic director, wishing him all the best during this time, this hard time, and he's like, I've got full confidence that you will be with your leadership, that you'll ride this storm. And he didn't have to do that, but he's just a great guy, and he loves Syracuse University, and he wanted to reach out and just show his support. And they're the type of people that we want. We want good people in the building. Yeah. We don't need people who are constantly, we have to take all our energy to these one piece. We've got 26 people. Mm-hmm. So if all 26 are moving in the right direction, now sometimes there's blips, but if they're moving in the right direction, both on the classroom and on the field, then that's the type of person we want.
For sure. Most definitely. We'll change gears a little bit now to the academic side. So getting into Syracuse, and obviously there's NCAA regulations and all that, but for you, what are some things that pop out at you when you're looking at a team sheet or something like that from an academic standard? What GPAs, what type of GPA requirements, SATs, what is, like, I guess we can call it like the safe zone or the line we would like a student to be at? Obviously everyone 4.0 and a 1600 would be amazing, but like what are some things that kind of put a player in a safe zone for
again, like depends on the school within the school. You know, our communication schools are best in the country, like Mike Tirico and Bob Costas and all of that. If you saw the Michael Jordan documentary, it was just filled with Syracuse people from that school. But that's a different requirement. You're talking the 1400, 4.0 to be accepted. Like, their acceptance rate is very low. The safe zone is like the 3.0, 1000 on the SAT, isn't it? It's always that is that goal. Now, if you're when I look at a team sheet, what pops out is the 2 3s. You're like, oh no, they're the ones that you stay away from, right? Yeah. I remember I was at earlier this year. It sounds really far away, but I was at an event, and one of the coaches just handed me a team sheet and went, I can't recruit any of these guys. And so he's actually at a game. He spent all this money going to a game, and he can't watch. He has to watch one team instead of the second one. So it's, but yeah, that's the safe zone.
Yeah,
3.0,000. But don't go in the safe zone.
Don't excel beyond it. Excel beyond it. And then so obviously when you get to the academics, sticking on the academic side, when you get to Syracuse, it's not over and done at any program. What are the eligibility requirements for your team? For example, I know the university probably has some. NCAA obviously has their own. What do you guys try to keep in-house for players to, what academic standard do they have to achieve while they're there?
We don't have specifics.
Yeah.
But it's obvious. Like, you can point to examples all the time to guys who maybe are not excelling in the classroom within our team, and be like, X, Y, and Z are flying high, and they're in the team and they're doing well in the classroom. You're not doing either. Mm-hmm. So there's examples within the team that you can use. Like, we have the highest GPA within the athletic department on the men's side for men's soccer. So we have some smart people in the building, in our locker room, and they set the standard. They set the standards, and in our team goals every year, academics is part of that. Yeah. Because you come to school, like, yes, there's the dream of the MLS or to play soccer afterwards, but there is a world-class backup plan. It's not even a backup plan. It's part of the plan. That is our degree. So yeah, it's self-explanatory.
For sure. And culture at Syracuse, getting acclimated with the team. Let's say you're a freshman coming in and you have to get acclimated with the team. What's that culture transition like? What are some things that you guys put in place, or something that players have to come in and kind of get used to from the get-go?
Yep.
What are some culture things?
So I've got a really good perspective on our culture, which is when I was here in 13 and 14, the culture I walked into is exactly the same. It hasn't changed, and which is great, because that means that our seniors are taking that on, not just our seniors, every one of that team, and they're growing, and they've grown through. Like, not one player in that locker room was there when I was a volunteer at Syracuse. So, and it was great to see. It's your behavior every single day. It's the things that you can control every single day defines who you are, and that's what we put in front of our guys every single day. We have all the bells and whistles here at Syracuse University. We have grass fields, turf fields, indoor facilities, strength and conditioning coach, nutritionist, blah, yada yada yada. But it doesn't matter that they're there if you don't use them. And so it's your behavior every single day that defines who you are and defines who we are as a program. And if your behaviors are not in line with ours, then it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be a fight, and we don't want that. And you're gonna be unhappy. We're gonna be unhappy. So. Yeah, and I read a book about Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer had defined culture in that way, and it's, if you want to be successful, you can you can be in a Zoom call like me and you right now, and be like, Coach, I want to score 20 goals. I want to score 20 goals this season, and then chip in with 5-10 assists. That's great. But what else are you just saying that, right, because you're in front of your coach, or is your behavior like day to day going to put you towards that goal?
For sure. No, that's some great pieces of advice. We'll go to student athlete schedules now. I know personally, playing Division I soccer, and just how crazy it was from coming from a mid-major, but ACC and the amount of travel that you guys are doing, the midweek games, and then the weekend game. Just talk about the student athlete schedule, I guess, during season, and then what it's kind of like after season.
Yeah. Wow. In season. So like you go from preseason, which is just full-time soccer. You're a full-time soccer student, like pretty much 95%. There's obviously a couple of people who are on doing the classes. So you can be full-time, going in for your treatment, your pre-activation, then go into training, and then you're going to do your rehab and all of that stuff afterwards. You can do video sessions and then weightlifting. You think, oh, wow, I've got all this time in the world. And then the first day of classes start, and that takes away most of your day. Like, we train in the afternoon. So we train like 2 to 5 or 2 to 4, whatever the block is. And so students will most likely take classes in the morning, and then they will have to come in and do treatment before practice, and then go to practice, and then do the rehab afterwards as well. Like we have an athletic trainer that strongly suggests that but like it's encouraged. And again, like these guys want to be pros, they want to get into these routines. So pre-activation is all part of it. It's a warm-up for the warm-up, right? But it's all part of what it strengthens weak areas for these people. Like if you've got bad ankles, like do the pre-activation for your ankle, so it's not an issue down the road. So yeah, you've got class, and then guys will go to class at night after class, and so and then you've got, on top of that, you've got video sessions mixed in with us. You've got you've got the lifting sessions that we provide during the season. Again, the ones in the season are not like what if I say lifting sessions, people automatically think bench press, like 12 different colored plates on each side, and like the football model. But no, it's more of a body weight explosive, keep those explosive levels up, and try and maintain the strength levels as well. So during a crazy season, but we'll play a game on a Tuesday night. So like we'll go from, so Friday night is our ACC game. Say it's a home game. Saturday, we'll most likely have off. Sunday will be a regeneration day. And then and / preparation day for a game on Tuesday. Preparation on Monday for training. Game on Tuesday, and then it just goes into that cycle again of regeneration. And then Thursday might be different, because Thursday we might be flying to an ACC game on a Friday night. We'll fly Thursday. We'll train at the facility on Thursday. Whoever, UNC, for example, you train at UNC that night, and then we'll have team meetings and stuff like that. And then you got your game on Friday. And then you do it all over again. So like you might miss 2 days of class, probably a week. You're probably missing 2 days of class a week.
That's insane. It's it just shows the commitment that you have to have, and being able to juggle, and time management and all those things come into effect. And then off season, so when you come back after the Christmas break or the winter break, what is it like in the off season? Is obviously it's not as busy with the travel and whatnot, but I know it's still busy for you guys. I know there's still some work to be done.
Yeah. So the early part of the spring season is 5 days a week for everybody. You've got 8 hours within that, and you can use that to your so like you've got 4. I think it's 4 hours of ball work, 4 hours of strength and conditioning in that, and with that, you've got, so that's 5 days a week. So you've got 2 days off, but that only lasts until like mid-February. And then your spring season starts. And then it's exactly the same as season, where you're going to go 6 days a week, most likely. Training. And then everybody has 5 games plus an international game if you can add to that.
For sure.
And us being so close to Canada, like we've been up there. We were meant to play Forge this year.
Nice. Well, that would have been a nice one.
Yeah, and TFC we played last year. My first week we played TFC 2, which was a great opportunity. So yeah, it's spring season, and that's normally April. So like normally people play one game before spring break, and then you've got April is like season, like without the midweek games. So you've just got a game every weekend, and then once spring season is over, like just before finals, then season's over. It's crazy.
Goes by.
You do a lot of training. You do a lot of training in the spring, and there's 5 games. So.
Yeah, it's insane. A lot of inner squad. Inner squad. So I guess my next question is just overall lifestyle of a student athlete. What would you give a piece of advice to freshmen? Maybe not just at Syracuse, maybe your time at Drexel, your time at Lemoyne as well. What are some things that a freshman you would say you got to get accustomed to immediately? Like, what are something, just an overall tip, a general overarching tip when you're coming to play college soccer in the NCAA? You gotta be able to get this down almost as soon as possible.
Yeah, the daily life for your university.
Yeah.
So if you're in a city school, you've got to get used to traffic, delays, times that it might take you to get to places. Know where those and then for any campus, know where the classes are. Know where, it sounds stupid, know where your locker room is. Know where the treatment room is. Just know where places are. Earlier you can do that, the more comfortable you'll feel, and just takes another stress off you. If you feel comfortable in your environment, it's so much easier to excel. Like if you're still wondering where the Bursar's office is in November, it's obviously that you've just been putting things off, and it's just there.
Yeah.
So the more you can take off your plate, the better. Like preseason is a great time to just get around campus and see, but kids won't, like they'll time off, they'll play Xbox, they'll play PlayStation, they'll hang out with the guys, which is fine, but you've got to get time to acclimate yourself with everything. Even if it's just a group of you, just walk around campus and be like, what's that building? What's that building?
Definitely. No, for sure. For sure. We'll switch gears here a little bit to how to get to Syracuse. Obviously, even when I was a kid, you always hear Syracuse, you want to go to a school like that, a big school, Power 5, ACC, like we said, the premiership of the NCAA. I love that line. But for example, a transfer student. So let's just say you were going to the JUCO route. You were going through maybe another school, and maybe Syracuse, they didn't hit your radar at the start. Do you guys look at the transfer system? Is it something you guys play into? If you can just give some advice to maybe a kid that isn't there academically yet, but eventually would want to get there. How do you guys view the transfer system and those type of prospects, and what do they maybe give different than a freshman boy coming in?
There's an opportunity for you in your junior college to become bigger, faster, stronger. Grow up a little bit more, be a more mature player. I mean, obviously you're going to grow up. You are now 20 years old, supposedly 19, 20 years old. By the time you've took some classes, you've seen a lot more, you've experienced a lot more. The benefit of having a 20-year-old come into your program, which just in terms of the body, like the physical maturity of the player is a lot different than a 17, 18-year-old player. So there's a lot of benefit to that. It's just, again, but then it's you have to produce again and again and again at your junior college and at your in the classroom, and you've got to then start recruiting again. Like your recruiting cycle starts all over again. So you've got to reach out to colleges. You've got to show video. You've got to make them aware of your schedule and pick your junior college right. Like there's some good academically, but the more successful your junior college is and the longer they play, the more likely you are going to be seen. So.
Most definitely. Again, great piece there. And then qualities amongst players. Obviously, we run into each other a couple times in Canada watching some games. What are some certain qualities that you see in Canadian players sometimes that differ, whether bad or good, that differ from when you watch Canadian or American games?
Intensity. The intensity of games are more consistently on a more consistent basis. Like the intensity is a lot higher, in my opinion. They have there's a chip on the shoulder there's a lot of quality games here in the US. There is a lot of good football players here. But it's the same in Canada, and the difference is, like, there's no difference, but the intensity of the games is something I really enjoy, and the reason why we go up there so often. So
no, for sure. And we'll switch gears. We talked about a little bit when we were talking about defender characteristics, but highlight videos.
Yes.
I know you get a ton. You probably get a ton. I probably send you a couple of them here and there. But highlight videos, what are some do's and don'ts? Some things that you see and you wish you saw more of, or some things you were just like, okay, maybe a player can take this out. Just general qualities that you see in a highlight tape that you can give some insight on.
Yeah. This is a big for me. Like I always talk to kids on camp, like in camp, like when we do these speeches or panels, put your best highlight first. Like intrigue, like you said, we get a lot. So I'm part of the Instagram generation where it can't be any longer than 2 minutes or I'll switch off. But no, don't make it too long. If you're a defender, make sure you put the defensive pieces first. Like if you're very good in the air, show that straight from the off. Big header, big tackle, big recovery play, good 1v1 defending. put that in there right away. Get my intrigue, like grasp my intrigue. Like I'll play it for 30, 40 seconds. And then if you've just passed the ball sideways for 5 yards, I'm like, why should I carry on doing this?
Yeah.
Now people are going to be like, well, like Xavi from Barcelona, what did his highlight to? Well, that's different, but it's not different. Like his highlights there'll be like better highlights. Like, you just got to put your best highlight first. Always put your best highlights first. If you scored a 30-yard screamer, put it in there, and then I'll be watching.
Yeah.
I'll watch the rest of them. Have them organized. Again, preference. I like them organized. So like your attacking plays, crosses, goals. Like don't just jumble everything up. Make sure they're aware of which player you are on the field at that time. Like if it's just a little circle or, but yeah, the key is the start. Like put all your emphasis on the start of it, of what you want to show right away.
Definitely.
Even if it's like a highlight of the highlights, like a 30-second blurb of who you are as a player, and then go into more goals, set pieces, or crossing or tackling or stuff like that. So if you're a goalie, coming for crosses, making big saves, shot stopping, 1v1, goal, and then add the kicks.
Yeah.
The kicking's is part of it as well. You've got to look for that. But I would rather see someone come out in a crowd and pick out the cross than you knocking it to your fullback. Yeah. Everyone should be able to do it anyway. So.
Great piece of advice there. Okay, next question I got here is normal recruiting strategies. So how have they changed from COVID? What are you guys doing maybe differently now than you were doing before? How has it limited you guys? And just obstacles you're working around currently.
Yeah, big obstacles obviously is you can't see players play live. It's going to slow down the 2021 class massively for us because. I mean, like Canada, we would have been up in Canada like 4, 5, 6 times already. Like I think the Umbro Cup would have been this week. So, so stuff like that is a big hindrance because you can't see kids play live. Like you can watch videos. Like we're watching a ton of videos as a staff. Like where kids are sending videos. Kids are doing overall, the kids are doing a great job of communicating, asking the right questions about COVID and stuff like that. Well, send full games, send highlight tapes, stay in communication. I'm on my email a lot more, probably a lot more because obviously I'm just stuck to this very desk. So I'm watching a ton of film from the fall and early spring games, and whenever kids send me video, I'll be watching that. I've got a whole list of games. Like I'll show you here. Like I've got a list of games that I scratch them off every night. I watch games at night because I have to. My obstacle is I have to look after my 2-year-old daughter for the whole day while my wife is working. So I watch games at night, and the rest of the staff is doing the same thing. So it's more efficient because basically that's all we talk about is recruiting, and then we talk about the season, and then we talk about recruiting, which is awesome for me because I've wanted to do this for a while, but obviously there's so many things that go on during the regular time that like you have alumni stuff and all that good stuff. So it's events and all the good stuff that come with college is sometimes put it on the back burner. But yeah, it's been great. We talk about it. We've been very thorough with it all, and hopefully it continues. Hopefully it continues within the crazy once the craziness starts again. But the biggest obstacle is the live piece, and it's going to slow it down. And just say to people, patience. Like people put all like recruits all the time is, I want to make a decision by this date. Well, that can't happen anymore unless you've got options.
Yeah.
And then it's a different world. But if you don't, then just put back your timeline, because our timeline's gone back. So, and everybody else's has probably gone back too. So
For sure, for sure.
don't panic.
We just mentioned it there, but if a kid wanted to get his eyes on you, if you wanted to look at a kid, I know we've been to I've seen you at the Sigmas. I've seen Ian at the Oakville Blue Devils and so on and so forth. But what are some events in Canada that I know we just talked about the Umbro that a kid could be seen by you by any chance?
Yeah, showcases. There's showcases. There's a lot of them in Canada. Yeah, we go to League One games, and there's a lot. It's the big showcases are the not the big, like, showcases are the main thing that we go up for.
Yeah.
We go up for games, like the League One games. Like, normally there's like 3 or 4 in a row, or that weekend that fit into a good schedule. So we'll go up for those. So for us, it's like going to New York City and watching games. Like, it's just the same amount of time. So it's showcases, and then again, but we need to, we can't go to your game if you don't tell us. So the big games and the showcases are the things that we go up for.
For sure. And I know you guys, I was part of one, so I know you guys run it often, but ID camps, you guys obviously have your own on Syracuse. I was at one there. They're professionally run, for anyone listening here that wants to attend. It's a very, very great time. I might still have my Syracuse shirt there.
What year was that?
That must have been, so I went to school in 2012. I went to UB, so I must have went at probably 2010 in my grade 10 or 2011. Nice. One of those 2 years.
Okay.
One of those 2 years. I'm not sure if you were. I'm not sure.
That was before me.
Yeah, I know Mike. Mike sent me the little email letter.
Nice. Awesome.
But recruiting from those, for instance, I know Tejon Buchanan obviously came and was a success story from going to a Syracuse ID camp. We run some ID camps for players to get introduced. What is the difference or the nature that you guys see recruiting from those type of ID camps? You're not technically with your team, you're kind of showcasing yourself on an individual basis, but what kind of information can you give to players there that are looking to showcase themselves via ID camps?
It's a great way, because the head coach is always there.
Yeah.
And you want to speed up the recruiting process, be seen by the head coach. We've had 33 players during Coach Mac's time signed from the ID camps, including Tejon Buchanan, who's and Alex Bono are the two that really stand out. Tejon, a Canadian that lived in Colorado, but because of his international status, couldn't play for the academy, so he had to go do the camp route, and he obviously succeeded. He got offered a spot at Syracuse, and the rest is history, folks. But yeah, what can you do at ID camps? You come in. I mean, every kid, like the nerves are there. The first day, it's about 150 miles an hour. Yeah. Just show what you're good at. Again, you'll be seen. Like, trust the coaches at those ID camps that they know what they're talking about, or they know what they're looking at. If you're a right back, I don't need to see you flick rainbow over the winger's head. I don't need you to do Cruyff turns in the wrong areas. I don't need you to do step overs in the wrong area. Do what right backs do well. Same with goalkeepers. Same with anything. Defenders, central defenders. If you're a ball winning defender, do the ball winning defender. Like, don't try things because you're on quote unquote, like, you're identified. You're being identified. Do the things that you do well, and that'll get you to where you want to be, or to a place that will appreciate what you do well. So
definitely great words of advice there. And last question here, just to wrap things up, Sean, is any other piece of advice that you can offer? We predict a lot of Canadians will be watching this episode here, but just anyone that's looking to get into the college system, NCAA system. You've seen obviously players that have gone on, done some great things from the pro ranks. What are some maybe 1-2 piece of advice that you can give a young player that's striving to get to those levels?
Yeah. The first piece of advice for me is never shut doors on opportunities. This is from the recruiting standpoint, is have your dream school, but please do not shut doors on other schools, whether they are like me, a Division II school or Division III school, or whatever school it is, NAIA. Every school has an opportunity, like for you, is an opportunity, and you've got to look into those schools. If they're not the right fit, then they're not the right fit. But don't shut the door because of the quote unquote status of that school. Yeah. You see so many people emailing in May, June, asking if your roster is full for 2020, and it's heartbreaking. And I know that those guys have had offers and they've turned them down because of the dream. So that would be one. Don't shut any up. Look thoroughly into every opportunity that you get. And again, if it's not yours, it's not yours. So move on. But don't shut the door because of what you perceive what it is, because you may be surprised. And then the second one is everybody trains. Everybody trains. Whether you're at Toronto FC, Montreal, Vancouver, or like Vaughan, Sigma, Ottawa, whoever. Everyone trains. Now it's what you do extra is the key. Yeah. And like you say, you want, like I said, it's your behavior on a day-to-day basis. What are you doing to improve and be better than the guy quote unquote ahead of you? And like, if you're telling me that if you're telling everybody at school that you want to be at Syracuse or whichever school, what are you doing to fulfill that goal? And if you're just going to training every week, okay, then you're basically relying on your talent to be good enough, or your athleticism or whatever it is. But that can only take you so far. So, and there'll be one guy somewhere in Canada that you don't know about that will come up and just spring because he did the extra, and then he's all of a sudden ahead of you, and you're like, wow, where's this guy come from? And it's come from going in this local school and doing extra shooting, doing extra passing, changing his range of passing. So just those two things I would say are big for me.
Most definitely. Well, Sean, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for joining us for this. Inside look is what we're calling it, and it was a nice inside look into Syracuse University. Good luck with you guys. I hope everyone stays safe. Everyone on the coaching staff, the players as well, all stay safe during this time, and we'll definitely catch up. And if I don't talk to you before then, good luck during the season. I know the ACC is a gauntlet, but good luck, and I know you guys will come out alive again like you did last year making the tournament. So good luck.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you, Marcus.
No worries.